Hey, friends. Welcome to another empowering episode of the Self-Love Strong podcast. Today, we're diving into the world of holistic wellness, self-care, and natural healing with an extraordinary guest, Keisha Christian. Keisha is a powerhouse in the holistic health space. She's the founder of Dropping Gemz Media Group, which includes Dropping Gemz Academy for Holistic Studies, an award-winning book series, Majestic magazine, and Dropping Gemz Podcast. With decades of experience as an educator and holistic health practitioner, Keisha is passionate about empowering people to take control of their health through natural wellness and personal growth. Her journey into holistic health started with her own health struggles, which led her to explore alternative solutions. After transforming her own well-being, she made it her mission to help others do the same. Through her books, courses, and mentorship, she shares powerful insights on strengthening immune health, managing allergies, and cultivating a balanced lifestyle. Let's welcome Keisha Christian to the show. I'm so glad you're here.
Hey everyone, greetings. Thank you for having me on. I'm so excited to be here.
Truly a pleasure to have you here, especially when it comes to holistic health and really health in general. With all your experience, can you take us back to that moment that sparked your passion for holistic health?
Well, it started, I would say, back in about 2006. I was experiencing a lot of health issues, and I went to the doctor, as you should, and I had CAT scans done, MRIs, all sorts of things done, and they couldn't find out what was wrong with me. So I have a cousin who's actually she's a vegan, so she is more into natural pathic medicine and those sorts of things. Oh, she directed me to a naturopathic practitioner. Actually, it wasn't that woman. The woman that I went to was the daughter, because her daughter lived here in the United States. My cousin's not from the United States. So it just so happens that her daughter is an herbalist. So I went to her daughter, and at the time I was still an educator. I've been an educator for a long time. So being that I'm an educator, she gave me so many books to read, as well as also vitamins I could take and different ways of eating, right? She gave me a meal plan and all of that. So that's where my journey began. Like, I immersed myself into it, and I connected with master health practitioners as well. I became an herbalist during that time, during the years as years have gone on. And I just found that by living this lifestyle, I just have a better quality of being. I started to feel better. I don't know what was wrong with me. Still to this day, I really think it was on a spiritual level, because I do believe that things happen on that spiritual level, and it manifests itself into the physical. So that's what really brought me on this path. And I just continue being the educator that I am. I just want to teach other people too, because hey, this worked for me. Let me show you how you could do it too. So that's where that comes from.
Man, I really love that. You found yourself needing the help. And I love how you really just dove into getting all that knowledge. And I think that's the best way, or best people to learn from, is somebody who's it's a lived experience, like something you've gone through, and you're willing to share that journey. Because I know there was a lot of ups and downs through figuring things out, would you say?
Yes, there definitely was. Eating, I'll just be quite honest. When she did put me on that meal plan, I was not used to eating that way. So I actually got very sick. And I got sick because my body was detoxing. Because I've been eating you've been eating a certain way for so long. Yeah. So when I was put on this, I made the choice. I didn't have to do it. I wanted to feel better. So I said, okay, I'll do it. And through my body detoxing, I just was really sick. But once I got over that hump, that hurdle, I just started feeling a whole lot better. My skin cleared up. You know what I mean? As a woman, the monthly cycle, that change became very much easier to deal with. So, those are the hurdles that I had to go through.
Yeah, it's when I think of like, you're like me, you know what, I'm going to get this healthier, eating healthy. And to hear you say, man, I got sick, was a powerful statement there, because I think many times we think as soon as we start eating healthy, everything's just going to be great. But I love how you said it. My body was detoxing. My body had to get rid of the old ways to make room for the new things that I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. So, and then when I found myself in the space where I was taking in all this knowledge, I never thought that I'd become an author. So during this journey I had, which started, I would say, maybe 2006, 2005, during this journey I have, so it's going on like 20 years now, I actually became an author during that time. I published my first book in 2018 with Healthy Gems, Nourishing Practices, Self-Care Tips for Busy Individuals. I won an award-winning book. And it's a short read. It's 75 pages long. And I wanted to teach individuals how they could take steps, small steps, because you don't want to become overwhelmed with this, taking small steps to living a more holistic lifestyle. So in this book, I really illustrate that, and I show how to do that. So it's a great read, short read, and an easy read, things that you could do holistically. Because one of the things I learned on this journey is not just what's at the end of your fork. You have to look at yourself as a whole person, And as you know, because I remember when you sent your survey, all right, your questionnaire for me to become a guest on this show, one of the things you talked about was the 8 pillars of holistic health. And I said, oh, we're on the same plane. We're on that same vibe, that same spiritual vibe as far as holistic health goes. And that's the thing that I concentrate on, looking at the 8 pillars of a holistic health. And then from there, what I did was I became a holistic health coach. So really honing in everything I learned so that I would know how to help others and to coach others and teach others how to live this way and have a better quality of life.
Man, that's so powerful. I love that you really, took that mission on and realized that you needed help. And then you started really working on yourself and realized that I can to move forward. And I really love something you're doing here is when you talked about, I'm reading the books and doing the research. I think many times when it comes to nutrition or just health in general, we aren't doing the work and getting the knowledge we need. But I love how this is something, like you said, I had to learn this. I mean, and I think when we're not asking enough questions about, is this really right for me? We're just kind of taking face value, like this is what they say is healthy. But I love how you really got into the books and did the research to really figure out, what does holistic really look like for me, and how can I help others do that?
Yes, exactly. So even as I continue on my journey, prior to becoming a health coach, I also became an herbalist. So I learned under master herbalists as well, because I wanted to learn about botanical medicine. So I learned how to prepare my own botanical medicines. I spent time up in the Catskills. I'm from New York. So I spent time up in the Catskill doing wild foresting, where we go through and we look for different herbs, and it was through the season, so it wasn't just like a one-time thing. So I was there going through the season. So we went through the season, and you see certain herbs and how they grow in the season, and then what parts of the plant that you would use to prepare and do botanical medicines. Learned what times of the year certain herbs grow, or their harvesting time. So those things I had to learn as well. And that was, I learned, as they say, I didn't learn that in a book. I had to be there to learn that, because we learn how to prepare these things. We examine parts of the plant on the microscope, So it was like, I felt like I was in, you would say, biology class again, learning about the parts of the plant. Yes. So that was a really cool experiencing something like that, and then bringing that knowledge back for me to use even for myself, family, and students, as well as clients.
It's so awesome. I love how you're really getting back to the root of things, getting back to the whole aspect of the plant. So what were some of the biggest challenges you faced when shifting from traditional medicine to, that approach?
I would say probably the biggest challenges that what some might think that I don't believe in traditional medicine, which is not the case. I am not against traditional medicine at all. I do believe that, my own personal opinion, it does help for some people. I mean, me personally, it's my last resort. If I'm trying everything holistically, help, doing more natural way, a homeopathic way, then if that's not working, then I will, seek out, I guess, Western medicine in that case. It doesn't happen too often, but I would. So I'm not really against traditional medicine. I think it is necessary in some instances.
Oh, okay. I love that. I really like that approach, but it's your last resort. I think many times that's people's only resort. Mm-hmm. And I love that you said, I got myself the knowledge that now I have options. I think many people find themselves maybe having these issues and they're always stuck with this one result and it's not working for them. But I love the fact that you said, hey, there's other options out there and you just have to seek them out and give yourself the knowledge of it.
Yeah. And there's simple things really that you could do. I really talk about that in my books. I have my second book because I was an allergy sufferer. So seasonal allergies was really, for me, it was dealing with that. I hated, especially spring. Oh my goodness. Allergies used to be horrible. Yeah. And I learned on this journey, because I'm still on the journey, how to control my seasonal allergies through preparation. I don't wait until that time of the year comes. I'm constantly preparing for it. So that prompted me to write my second book, Holistic Gems, How to Treat Seasonal and Year-Long Allergies Naturally. So that was my second book. And in this book, I take a holistic approach, as I do with everything, and really let the reader know how they could deal with seasonal allergies. Like, for example, one of the things I talk about in my book, something very simple that I could even share as a holistic coach and educator, is making sure you drink water. Right? Many of us don't drink water. So that's one of the things. I actually have a whole chapter on drinking water. And I also give water recipes. Some people yeah, there's water recipes. Definitely. There's recipes for water. Yeah. So some people like a little flavor in their water. But I'm not saying to add a lot of things. There's certain things I tell people what they could add to their water, to give it a little flavor and also to help to hydrate you.
Wow, I really love that because, man, I'm going to have to get that book, I got to say. It's about springtime in Texas, and we have cedar here that just covers everything. So I'm going to have to get that one. But I love the knowledge. I think many times we're leaving it to chance. But I love how you're taking that proactive effect and saying, hey, you can prepare for certain things if you give yourself the knowledge. I think many times we're not asking the right questions, but I love the fact that you're like, on my journey. I love the fact that you said, I'm still learning. And I think that's a powerful statement there, because like you said, the holistic approach isn't just a one size fits all, but it's something that we learn and we grow through. But we can, like you, to give us that knowledge that they've already done.
Yes, definitely. And then you notice I said I'm a herbalist. I'm not a master herbalist yet. There's so many herbs that I still need to learn, and how to use them and how to prepare them, and just knowing where they're grown, their native land, and how it can be used. So even for me, I'm still learning and evolving and growing myself, even though I've been doing this for a long time.
Man, that's awesome. I love that when you're on a journey, you still have like, hey, I'm still learning. That this road isn't done, but that I'm still growing and there's so much to learn. I think that's awesome because it gives people the opportunity to realize that, hey, I love that. So can you share some key principles of holistic wellness that you think everybody should know?
Well, when looking at, if we look at the holistic health wheel, that's what I call it, the holistic wheel of wellness. There are certain aspects you definitely want to look at. As far as one thing that I think is key is looking at your environment. What type of environment are you in? Like some people, I understand you may not be able to move for various reasons. So you might not be able to move out of your environment, but what can you do to make it better? Now, one thing that I do suggest is finding a sacred space. And a sacred space is that special place you might have. It might be in your room. It might be in a corner of your room. For some people, it's a closet. You know what I mean? Some people they might call it a prayer closet. That might be their sacred space. So finding that place you could go to, whether it be to meditate, pray, or just to be still and quiet. Definitely something key that we might overlook and not think about. Something else, as I mentioned before, drinking water, making sure that you are getting your body hydrated and being hydrated, right? That's something that people might not think about, especially if you're a soda drinker or you like drinking a lot of those sweet drinks, things like that. Definitely want to. Not everyone might achieve like me. At one time, I used to drink much more water than I do now. So I more so go with my body because I'm ever evolving. I used to drink about half my body weight in water every day. I don't really do that anymore because I realize my body doesn't need that much water anymore. I'm eating much more, a lot of watery, I would say, I was always eating a lot of leafy greens. Let me not say it like that, but even more fruits and vegetables than I did as prior to when I wrote these books, right? So you'll see in the books, it does say how much water I drink every day because I used to drink half my weight in body water. I don't do that so much anymore, but just looking at that. And I also used to exercise much more back then too. So I have to keep that in mind. So I change. So my needs change, but definitely becoming hydrated and making sure that you're getting that water into your body. That's really key. It's also a key component. And another thing I would definitely look at is socially, especially in this day and time post pandemic, just looking at your social circle. That's something that's key as well. Just looking for ways that you could connect to people, whether it be in person or online, because not everyone has that option to connect with people, in person all the time. But, making those good connections, whether it be joining a Facebook group or something to that nature, definitely. So those are the key things that I would look at. Hydration, looking at your environment, your social circle. There are so many others, but those are the three that come to mind.
Man, I really love that, Keisha. I think that's so powerful. One thing I really love about those, I really love how you talked about your environment. And I love something there. I think many times we're like, I love how you said not everybody can move from their environment. Some of us are stuck there and, but you can find a place. I think that's so powerful. If your environment isn't like how you like, make it that way. I think stuck in this environment, this is how it has to be. But I love how you talked about maximizing your environment and finding that space for yourself. I think that's so, and I believe we give away. We don't think that if we want things to change, that we can change our environments, but we just accept them for how they are. But I love how you talk about building space for yourself. That's so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So awesome. So what are some of the, so what are some of the natural ways people can support their immune system health and their overall well-being?
So some of the ways they could really support their, when we talk about the immune system, and we'll get more into discussing my course, I would say one thing you want to look at is your sleep. How are you sleeping? How are you resting? Right? Sleep is so important when you're dealing with the immune system. So how many hours at night are you getting sleep? Now, I know for some it may be hard depending on what your circumstances are in your environment, right? But really, that's something to look at. If you have some people, I am a workaholic, so it's not a good thing. For me, I would say it's not a good thing. I'm not going to wear that with a badge of honor, but there are many times that I'm burning the midnight oil and I'm staying up until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I know I have to get up early because there's sometimes where I have ideas and I just got to get them out. I got to sit there and write them out. I just can't stop and take a break sometimes. And this is speaking for me. That's why I say I'm ever evolving, being transparent here. So definitely looking at how are you resting? How are you getting your sleep in? That's something really crucial for your immune health. Another thing, looking at what types of foods are you eating? Just making sure that you are not eating ultra processed foods. Now, granted, a lot of the food is processed and it might have it might have some processed food, but you want to look at making sure that you're eating foods that are minimally processed as possible. And if you could do fresh, even better.
It's so powerful. I love that. I love that it's within your power. I think when we think about building our immune system, I wasn't expecting sleep to be such a massive component. I didn't think that was what you were first thing you were going to say. We hour of rest, and we think about so much of it. If I need to eat something healthy, but I love how you talked about, hey, it really comes down to your sleep and how eating those whole foods.
The eating whole foods, sleeping, making sure you are going back to water. Water is very important to me. You're hydrating yourself because you want to make sure you get those cells hydrated in the body. Also, another thing that I look at too in the winter that I like to do is sprouting. So I like to garden and I can't really grow anything in the winter. Like I said, I'm from New York, so can't grow anything in the winter in your garden in New York outside. So I like to sprout. So some people might do sprouting, the microgreens, right? So that's something I do on my own, and I actually do teach how to do that as well. Looking at probiotics, prebiotics and probiotics, your gut health, very important to help with your immune system as well. And I actually do teach how to make your own probiotics. So looking at that component as well.
Oh, that is so awesome. I'm excited to dive into your academy and, give people that opportunity to kind of see what you're doing there. That's so powerful. There's so many things that you can take that power back and start making things for yourself. That's so awesome. So
yeah.
You say, how does self-love play a role, you say, in physical or mental health? Do you believe that self-love plays a role in physical or mental health?
Yes, it definitely plays a role in both. And I do believe me being on this path has a lot to do with self-love. Me just dealing with a health issue I had. To this day, I don't know what was wrong with me. I don't. I just knew I wasn't feeling well, and learning how to, in a sense, make myself feel better. It's an act of self-love, and then sharing that with others. When you are looking at ways to build your immune system so you could have a higher rate of immunity to many things in our environment, and fighting free radicals and taking in antioxidants into your body and learning how to do that, that is powerful, how you could take your life, your health in your hands. That is one of the greatest forms of self-love, I believe.
Man, I love that. I love that how you talked about that, is really doing that work when you start to have that higher sense of self-love, like you said, taking those holistic approaches and starting to put the right things in your body, how that simply is that sign of self-love. It's really taking care of yourself properly, but also doing the work like you're talking about. I think that's, like you said, it's so powerful.
Yeah.
Man, that's so awesome. So,
sorry.
I know I was going to hear what you say. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just saying, even when you're talking about physical and mental health, physically, looking at how much you exercise, that's another thing too. Exercise is also a key component, because you want to make sure you get the lymphatic system moving. You want to sweat. You want to, bring your heart rate up. So you get that blood pumping through the body. All those things are crucial as well. I know, me personally, I don't like to exercise. I've said this too, even on my podcast and on my show. But it's something that needs to be done, and the body wants to move, so you got to move that body. So looking at the physical, and that is in connection with your mental health. When you start to move the body, it really assists with helping with your mental health.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you talked about how movement is crucial for this improvement in that overall holistic approach. I think, like you said, and I love that you said, it's not something that I enjoy, but it's something that needs to be done. And I think that's going to be probably a lot of roadblocks people do run into when it comes to holistic health. There's so many things that they're like, it's not comfortable. Like you talking about getting herbs, processing things a little bit differently. But I love how you talked about, hey, it's not always comfortable, but it still needs to be done. And having that proactive approach. So, most people struggle with making lasting changes. What are some simple steps that they can take to start their holistic health journey?
Well, when I think about this, going back to my book, Healthy Gems, just taking one thing at a time. You make small steps, right, to have a lasting impression and to assist with your health. It's not easy for everyone to do this. That's why I stress making small steps. Because when you take a small step, you'll be surprised how far you could go. Carl Jung said, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. Just take one step at a time. Don't try to conquer and do everything, with me, my small step was just changing things in my diet, swapping things out for other things. One of the things I remember back when I first started, I like to have peanut butter, and that was, I was suggested that I try a different type of butter. So I made a switch. I started using almond butter instead of peanut butter. And that's just a small example. You know what I mean? Certain types of jellies, instead of using more commercial, and I'm not going to name any brands, but more commercial brands, look to see either to try to make it on my own, right? Or to use like a smaller company that use less preservatives in their products, So those are small steps that someone can make.
Man, I love that. I love something you said there, which I think is so powerful. It's just really taking those small, I think many times, like I imagine in the beginning, people read that book, like, I want to change everything, clean out my refrigerator, and they're wondering why things don't get stuck or they feel just super overwhelmed. But I love how you said, it's just taking that small step. And when you take that small step, how it allows you to make that next step. I think we want to change our lives. We want to live healthy, but we make it, we overcomplicate the process, or we think it's going to be hard. But I love how you really starting with the little, and how one little thing can build that.
Yeah, and I'm also thinking too, as you were talking, just looking at overall, what is it that you want to accomplish in life, right? And don't give up. You might come against hurdles, but you definitely don't want to give up. Just going back to earlier when I said I got sick, and I could have given up at that point, but like, oh, I want to feel better. I'm feeling worse. Let me just give up. But I stuck through it, right? And then when I stuck through it, I actually started feeling better, because I didn't give up. So you don't want to give up. And that's in life in general. That's why I take the holistic approach, not just talking about what's at the end of your fork and what you're eating. That's life in general. I don't like exercising, but I got to do it anyway. You know what I mean? There are going to be things in life you're not going to like. And if you look at anyone who's successful in life, they had to go through challenges and go through things they didn't like or didn't want to do, but they stuck to it. So another word that's coming to me is consistency, being consistent, and even if you fall off, it's fine. Get back up again. You know what I mean? Don't stay on the ground. If you fall down, get back up. Don't give up.
Man, I love that approach. And I think that's truly, like you said, how change starts is realizing that, hey, it's going to be tough, but not giving up. Realizing that, yes, I may stumble, yes, I may fall away. Like you said, get back up and try again. But most importantly, find that consistency in the process. I love how you said it's not just that one day. It's not like I'm going to be, what they're like, Keisha, I did it one day. That means I'm living a holistic lifestyle. No, you said it's something that we consistently do and show up and do each and every day. I love that because, like you said, choice. This is a choice you have to make each and every day that I'm not going to give up, or I can still keep going. That's your powerful message in itself when it comes to putting yourself first.
Oh, what do I do to put myself first? I'm sorry. Can you repeat your question?
Oh, no. That wasn't the question. I'm sorry. I was just saying that, like you said, it's such a powerful statement to how people can put that consistency, like you did say.
Yes. Sometimes you need to.
What would you say, or maybe some common
I'm sorry. You got cut off.
I love
sorry.
that. I'm not cut off. So what would you say are some common mistakes people make when trying to improve their health?
I would say not looking at, or when you have goals, you want to break your goals down. And this is one of the things that as a health coach I used to do. We come up with goals, right? And then they're smart. They're called SMART goals, right? So they're specific, measurable, attainable, reliable, and timely. So when you're looking at the SMART goals, that's your overall goal. And then you want to break that down into smaller goals, right? So you have your overarching goal, and then you have your smaller goal you're looking at. So you want to look at, we break down that really big goal, right? So the big goal, for example, might be, I want to lose 90 pounds, right? So we really need to break that goal down. You break that goal down into smaller goals, right? What are some things you're going to do to get to that step? And then those are the things you work on to make it much easier and attainable. Because when you find as though you're not attaining that goal you're looking for, that's when you want to give up. So really making it small, attainable goals. That's the thing you want to do. So in that way, you don't give up or feel as though you failed, so to speak.
Yeah, that's so powerful. I love how you talk about that. Knowing your an important towards anything you're looking to achieve, like you said, is really having the, setting that foundation of why we want this, and then realizing that I can keep looking at that knowing that I'm on track because this is something I set as a goal. I love that it's not just a goal. You have to make sure it's something that you're choosing and that you realize it's going to help you be better and be where you want to be. I love that.
Exactly. And have an accountability partner. That too. That also really helps as well.
Yes, I 100% agree with you. So how can people, and I know you have a book on this, which I'm super excited about. How can people incorporate, the holistic approaches into their busy lifestyles?
Going back to what I was saying, just making sure that you take small steps one at a time.
Nice. I agree. It just comes down to just that simple thing and realizing the power you have, like you said, in that moment. So you offer a holistic immune health masterclass. What is that, and how can people improve their health and well-being?
So what I did was I took the 8 pillars of health and I broke that down into modules. So every section of my course is 5 sections, and you can take it in any order you want to. You don't have to take it in order. So if you feel like learning about gut health first, you could do that as well. I have a module on water. If that's something that you want to do first, you could do that as well. You could take this in any order. And I just wanted to show others how you could help improve your immune health through these 8 pillars of holistic health.
Man, so powerful. I love that you made a system for that people can kind of, break down those pillars and part where you really want to work on in those pillars. So how has your background as an educator influenced the way you teach your holistic health?
Well, when teaching this course, I take an interactive approach. So there are videos. Also, there's a workbook that goes along with the course as well. And I have the quizzes, because being the educator of me, I'm gonna quiz you for your knowledge to see what you know and what you do. And then in the workbook itself, it actually there's activities that you do in there as well to make sure that you understand what this is about. I also have a group that you could join as well. So if you want to interact with me or even talk to your the other students taking the class as well, it's a community. So those are the things I have within this course as well.
And I really built a system. You have a community of support well to guide you along. I think many times we find things and we feel really stuck and alone through the process. But I love that you built a community that can support you of people that are doing the exact same thing as you. I think many times when we start any journey, it feels very isolating. Like I love how you built something where people can find going through the same process.
Yeah, you want people who are on the same journey or similar journey as you, who are dealing with things that are similar to yourself, so you can relate to them. Another thing I'm doing, it'd be for your listeners as well. I'm offering a free ebook for this particular course. It's called 21 Holistic Immune Health Secrets. It's a free ebook that you could download at the website, www.droppinggemz.com. That's DROPPINGGEMZ.com. You go to the website and you could download your free ebook.
Man, that's so awesome. Yeah, I hope you heard that, guys, because what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put that link under this video as well. But I want to know this. I know it's this, Keisha, and they're like, you know what, man, it sounds great. But now when it comes to my health, I kind of feel overwhelmed. What advice would you give someone that's like, man, I want to do all this stuff now. I want to live this overwhelmed. What would you let them know?
Well, one of the things I would ask is, what exactly do you want to focus on? What is your focus? Is your focus losing weight? Is your focus just making sure that you're eating the right food, right? You feel as though you might not be eating healthy. You want to put down that bag of potato chips. What is it that is your focus? And that's why in the course, I allow people you're allowed to take the course in any order you want to of interest. So whatever module or section you want to start with, you're free to do so. And you learn from there. So you can learn gradually. It's not, so it's not overwhelming.
Man, that's so cool. I love how you can learn at your pace. So like you said, it's not going to be overwhelming, but you're not alone. I think you said, like, people need to focus on what they really want. And then you have that community that's going to support you along the way. And it's not like a rush process, but like you said, it's taking that one step every single day. So it's within your wheelhouse. There's no rush. Just realizing that each day is part of the process.
Yes, exactly.
So if you had a fire embracing their, holistic, what would you like to leave them with?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? You were breaking up.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. I'm sorry about that. If you had a final message actually, I want to say this. I'm thinking here is I'm like, you know what, Keisha, everything you sound, where can we get in touch with you? I know you mentioned your ebook and your Dropping Gemz website. Where else can kind of follow you at?
Oh, you could follow me on Facebook at Dropping Gemz. You could use the same handle. You could follow me on TikTok as well at Dropping Gemz, same handle. Actually, be Dropping Gemz _ on on TikTok, and I also have a YouTube channel. You could check my videos out there that I have done in the past, all about holistic health. I actually have recipes that I've done on the channel as well, where I show people how to make certain things, certain recipes. You could do it for yourself at home. And you can follow me. It's called Just Dropping Gemz TV, but my handle on there too is Dropping Gemz as well on YouTube.
Awesome, guys. I'm gonna make it super simple for you. I'm gonna put all of I'll make it super simple for you guys. I'm gonna put all of Keisha's links under this episode, so you can make and make sure you get that ebook. It's gonna you get her books, her course. Realize that you don't have to go through this holistic journey alone. But Keisha, if you had one message to leave the listeners today, what would you like to leave them?
Well, you talk about self-love, and I did have a radio show. I know I didn't mention that during this interview, but at the end of my radio show, I always said, I love you, so you should love you too. Love yourself, right? No one else is going to love you in this world the way you are going to love yourself. That's the most important things I believe. And also, I was coming up to me, you're a winner, right? You could do what you choose to achieve in this life, but everything starts with you and your mindset. So just keep that in mind.
And that's so powerful. And it's so true. Like you said right there, it starts with you and your mindset. And yet love yourself, like Keisha said there. So and it starts with that holistic approach as well. It starts with loving yourself.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. All right, you guys, like I said, I'm going to put all of her links under here. So make sure you connect with her. Make sure you follow her. Make sure the last time you hear from her. But like she said, you